Well, joining us now is Senator John Boozman, ranking member of the Senate Ag Committee, and come January, chair of the Senate Ag Committee. Senator, welcome. Thanks for taking the time to join us this weekend.
No, thank you as always for having me.
Well, I understand that you met this week with the nominee to serve as USDA Secretary, Brooke Rollins. Let's start off with some insight there. What did you learn from that meeting?
Well, I was very pleased. I had met Brooke in passing several times, but I really didn't know her. We had a great conversation. We've talked then, we've texted back and forth about some issues, but I was really pleased. She's got an ag background in the sense of growing up in small town in Texas, has an ag degree from Texas A&M, and is just a very, very thoughtful person. She's very close to the president, which is so important in these cabinet positions, that she's got his ear. And so because of that and because of some of her views and things, I felt very, very comfortable with her. I'm looking forward to getting her confirmed as quickly as possible and looking forward to working with her in the future.
Any indication of what her priorities are going to be come day one?
No, not so much. We talked a lot about just the condition of agriculture right now, the fact that if you're growing something, you're probably losing money, in the sense of having the worst 2 years back to back of a decrease in ag income ever. And then also looking forward into the future, the economists tell us that things as far as commodity prices, input cost, are probably not going to get any better. So we just talked a lot about the condition of agriculture, how important it was to get a farm bill done. And I think that's going to be her number one priority, is helping us with that and as we go forward.
Well, we're going to get into the ag economy here in just a minute, but you also met with Lee Zeldin, the nominee to lead the EPA. We're hearing some concerns among farmers about his track record when it comes to biofuels. But what were some of your biggest takeaways from that meeting? Do you think he will be a friend to agriculture? I
think he will be a friend of agriculture. One of the great problems that we've got is permitting in agriculture, adhering to what the Supreme Court said regarding waters of the U.S., all of those kind of things. What farmers need is certainty with the law, and so I think he's gonna be a breath of fresh air. We can work with him on various programs or whatever, help him understand how important some of these agriculture programs are. But I think what farmers need most is a reduction in current regulation, and certainly we don't need any more new regulation, which was happening every day under the current administration.
Well, Senator, have you met with RFK Jr. yet? And will he have your vote, or will you vote against him for his nomination to head the Department of Health and Human Services?
I haven't met with him yet. I look forward to meeting with him, and so we will meet with him. We'll discuss at length what his ideas are. We look forward to his hearing, which will come up, and I'm sure he will be, questioned extensively. And so after we do all of those things, then we'll make a decision as to whether or not we can support him. But we'd like to get to yes, and we've got a good process in place, and we'll wait and see.
Senator, you mentioned concerns about the ag economy. We actually have a survey that we conduct of ag economists called the Ag Economist Monthly Monitor. The latest survey shows 56% of economists think that agriculture is currently in a recession, 81% think we're on the brink of one, and 94% of economists think we'll see consolidation in the row crop sector. I mean, you've been vocal lately about the pain across farm country, specifically among row crop farmers. During your remarks on the Senate floor this week, you painted the dire picture and said, quote, "We need to provide producers with the certainty and predictability to be able to go to the bank and have confidence that help is on the way so they can continue farming." You're pushing for emergency relief. Will that be enough, Senator?
Well, hopefully so. I mean, we're in a situation that the only thing I would wonder about your survey is who doesn't think that we're in a recession. I'm out and about as much as anybody throughout the country, throughout my state, but also the country, and then two, get to visit with most of the agricultural people that are in town in Washington. And I understand how difficult it is, and I can't imagine not describing it as a recession, especially too when you look at the numbers reported by the USDA, and I think they're actually undervalued. So we simply have to come up with a package that helps them get through this year. The last 2 years, as I mentioned earlier, are the worst ever as far as decrease in ag income. And then going forward, if we don't get the modernized, if we don't get the risk management tools adjusted for inflation, then the bankers aren't going to have the certainty that they're going to, their risk is going to be less, and it's going to be difficult for a lot of farmers to get the financing that they need. So it's not only the economists that are telling us, it's not only the farmers that are telling us, but it's all of the lenders. Everyone that's involved in agriculture lending is painting a very dire picture.
Well, let's talk about the Farm Act. You mentioned recently that the path for the Farm Act is facing some unexpected challenges. Can you tell us what those challenges have been?
Well, it's going to cost some money to get it done, and we're working really hard to explain the need for that. I don't know exactly what it will look like. Certainly it will be similar to that, but we've got a lot of good people. Senator Hoeven is working really hard on the Senate side. A lot of this stuff is going to go through the Appropriations Committee. In the Senate, we're a little different. I'm on the Appropriations Committee as well as the Ag Committee, as is Senator Hoeven and several others. So we're working this from both ends. Cindy Hyde-Smith has been very active, Senator Grassley, Senator Ernst, really all of John Thune, all of the people on the Ag Committee have done a great job of trying to come up with a package that, as you say, will be enough to make a real difference to get people through this year.
There are quite a few people working on it. So at this point, do you think the Farm Act will get passed? And if so, how will it be passed? I mean, will it be attached to the continuing resolution, or what's the plan?
Well, we're working literally as we speak to get the language together, to get agreement from both sides of the aisle, Democrats and Republicans, to move forward. So I can't tell you, for sure that it's going to get passed. I know if you've read anything that I've said for the last year and a half, you know where I'm at on this, and I understand how important it is. As far as where it would be attached, it would probably be attached to the continuing resolution.
Well, Farm Bill, you also mentioned that, a Farm Bill extension. I mean, that sounds likely at this point. Should we just bank on an extension? And is an extension enough, considering the dire picture in farm country that you continue to talk about?
Well, I think that we have to have an extension because it runs out, at the end of December. So we need an extension. The extension will be for a year, but that doesn't mean, and this is really important, that doesn't mean that we have to go for a year. And, it looks like we're going to need an extension. We'll get that done, but that doesn't mean that we couldn't, in early January, get this thing done. I'm committed to getting these things done as quickly as possible because, as I said earlier, the reality is it's going to be very difficult to get financing unless we update the risk management tools and set them for inflation like every other business has in America.
Well, with the new Farm Bill, then next year, do you start from scratch, Senator, or do you use the existing framework already set by the House?
And this is really important. We've had many hearings, many listening sessions throughout the country. We're continuing to do that right now. We're talking to our lenders, we're talking to farmers, we're talking to all aspects of the nutrition people, we're talking to all aspects of people right now. So it's not like all of that work goes away. So we've got some ideas. I have a framework, GT has a framework, Congressman Scott has ideas, Senator Klobuchar will have some ideas. So we'll have new ideas. We need to get those gelled together. But the underpinning, all of the work that we've done, the conditions in ag country, all of that is there. So no, it's not like starting over at all.
Okay, real quick, saving the biggest topic for last, but real quick. Let's talk about tariffs. Just last month, you said you're not for across-the-board tariffs, but you do think it's a very useful tool in getting countries' attention to play fair. So how should the federal government then support ag to deflect any economic pain that could come from a trade war or increased tariffs?
Well, we'll have to wait and see how all of this plays out. And at some point soon, we'll have a discussion with the president and his people that are going to be in charge of the policy. But I believe, the ag community believes very strongly that we simply, trade is the lifeblood. So much of agriculture goes overseas. One of the problems that we've got right now with agriculture is we've started running the last few years, which is an anomaly. It hadn't happened before, but it is now. We're running trade deficits based on agriculture, with those expected to grow. There's just no reason for that. And so we just need to look at the whole policy. The whole world wants good, solid trading partners, people that they don't have to worry about. They don't want to put all of their eggs in the Chinese basket. They want to trade with us. And so we haven't been there. We haven't stepped up to take advantage of that. So I believe the president will. On the other hand, what frustrates me, and I know frustrates the farm community because I'm with them every day, is the fact that we strike these deals, we adhere to the rules of the whatever the agreement is, and then the other countries dump all this stuff. So you need to play fair on both sides, and I think that's where tariffs come in the sense that you can use that to punish them. We are the market that we are. We have the ability to do that, not only with tariffs, but with other things, to make sure that people play by the rules and that our farmers are not taken advantage of.
Very last question. Based on our polling, rural America and the ag industry overwhelmingly supported President Trump in the last election. What does the president need to do from day one in office to validate their faith in him?
Well, I think he's already started by appointing the individual that he has, that he wants to get appointed as Secretary of Agriculture. I think she's somebody that's going to do a great job, that will represent agriculture. She understands, and I believe that the president understands, as you mentioned, the reason that he is president, will become president, is because of the support of rural America. And then also just the fact that it's such an important industry, and the list goes on as to why we need to be supportive of our farmers. So now I feel very confident that the president is going to do whatever he needs to do to protect the farm economy, to help it grow, and also, like I say, that is rural America. 53% of our counties lost population last census. And there's all kinds of things we need, not only directly supporting our farmers, but just supporting rural America, supporting the infrastructure so that people want to go back to the farm and, again, continue to feed not only our country but the world. It's not just a saying that food security is national security. That's so very important.
Senator, we really appreciate you taking the time to join us this weekend. We need to take a quick break, and then we'll have much more right here on U.S. Farm Report.
Thank you.